My name is Rebecca Terrell. I'm here with the New American Magazine, and we are at the Moment of Truth Summit hosted by Mike Lindell, and I have a very special guest with me today. Could you introduce yourself and tell your background?
Yes, I'm Dr. Dean Condon. I work with Compass Care Pregnancy Services in New York State. I'm the Director of Strategic Partnerships. My background is actually as a pastor in full-time ministry for over 30 years. I went into leadership consulting after that, was asked to help launch the Buffalo office in New York back in 2019. Since then, I've moved to a more national position of developing national partnerships, and as Compass Care expands a telecare, tele-health platform available to pregnancy centers all over the country.
That is wonderful. And now you are involved with a pregnancy center that was firebombed after Roe v. Wade was overturned. So give us that background.
So Jane's Revenge firebombed the Buffalo office on Tuesday, June 7th. Compass Care has kind of built a national reputation because Compass Care has been particularly successful at reducing abortion. In Rochester, we saw a 50% drop in abortion between 2008 and 2018. As a result, pregnancy centers across the country were like, what are you doing? How are you doing this? And so Compass Care has coached over 650 pregnancy centers across the country to fully medicalize and to become more effective in their patient services. As a result of that kind of fame, as it were, Jane's Revenge targeted Compass Care with a firebombing, which was perhaps one of the most egregious attacks on a pro-life organization since the leaking of the Dobbs decision to overturn Roe versus Wade. And so while they firebombed the office on that day, the patients that were scheduled to be served, in particular one was an abortion pill reversal, were able to get her to Rochester, serve her effectively, and then a Christian-run medical office opened their doors, so we never missed a day serving patients. And inside of 52 days, like Nehemiah built the wall, the Christians in Western New York rallied together and restored the building. And because of the generosity of the church, that building is now being expanded by a third to reach more women more effectively. So what they meant for ill, God has turned into good.
That is so characteristic of our Lord to do that kind of thing.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. So what we've also seen is that because our CEO, Jim Harden, who has been with Compass Care for 21 years, has led the way nationally around the national ethics discussion, has had over 200 media interviews since the firebombing that has kept the issue in front of the American public. And that's been a positive thing, especially as Compass Care is expanding with the telehealth across the nation.
This is fantastic news and so encouraging. And tell me what brings you to the Mike Lindell Election Summit this weekend?
Well, this is a gathering of very passionate people for the cause of America. And while abortion is often framed as a one issue among many, it really is far more important. It's a fundamental principle of what it means to be human under God. And so in this nation, founded under God and under those fundamental principles of what it means to be human, our rights come from God, not from the government. And that one central one is the value or the inviolability of life. And so there's a connection, and part of what I'm doing is just raising awareness among people who are both passionate about their country, passionate about life. The vast majority of people here are passionate Christians, and so it's been the kind of network to raise awareness. So we've connected with several people who are saying to me, oh, I know of a pregnancy center in my city who would love to take advantage of the telehealth platform that you're providing.
And what progress do you see that you have made here?
Significant progress in terms of just connecting with folks who want to get behind what is going on, and in a sense, it's really helping these people and organizations advance what they care about. These people want to see life thrive. They want to see family thrive. They want to see our nation become more pro-life. And so those connections have been very profitable to make, to say, hey, here's how we can make a difference. 650 pregnancy centers, we figure that if they're onboarding with telecare by 2026, we'll be looking at saving up to $300,000 a year from being lost in an abortion clinic.
And we've seen that we've had great progress this year with the overturning of Roe v. Wade after almost 50 years. What do free and fair elections mean to the fight to end abortion in this country?
Well, we've seen what happens as the result of a bad election in the last 18 months, right? And the horror of what's accelerated on so many levels, whether it's economic, but even the fundamental values around family have shifted. Our understanding of sexuality is being challenged, and there's a vehemence among the Biden administration to push and protect abortion really as a religious right unto itself. In fact, in Florida, there were 3 rabbis who filed a case against the Attorney General claiming that abortion was in fact a religious freedom issue and that any law inhibiting that should be struck down. And so the connection between the laws that we have, because the law is a teacher, right? And one of the challenges we face that for nearly 50 years, the law has taught our country that somehow abortion is okay. And so that's gotten into the deep consciousness of America that say, okay, somehow abortion is acceptable, somehow it's okay. But it really isn't. To be returned to the biblical foundation that every human being is made in the image of God from the moment of conception and is worthy of protection without qualification is a fundamental position. And so free and right elections, I think most Americans actually believe that. They embrace that. And the results of the voting will reflect those kinds of convictions.
Absolutely. Now, our Department of Justice, I understand, has sued the state of Idaho, which is one of the strongest states, pro-life states. They do have exceptions for rape and incest. What is your comment to that?
Well, sometimes the way it works in many states is that you're trying to take things incrementally, right? And while the challenges of rape and incest are painfully difficult and complex, they're relatively rare on the scale of the number of people who get abortions. And so what they're trying to do is remove these objections that would stall any progress by making some major progress that would relate to 99% or more of abortions. And then while they may have differing opinions about what happens in the case of rape and incest, in the case of Compass Care, the embrace would be that all human beings are human beings and worthy of protection regardless of circumstances.
Right. Rape doesn't mean the baby shouldn't have to pay.
Exactly.
For the crime of rape. Well, but going back to what I brought up, the Department of Justice has sued the state of Idaho, saying that their abortion laws now violate federal law by preventing women from getting emergency care. Are you familiar with this lawsuit?
I'm not familiar with the particulars of that particular lawsuit, but I am aware that this is one of the prongs of their strategy of the abortion industry to perpetuate free and legal access to abortion. And so it is really a red herring because abortion isn't medicine. Abortion is the destruction of human life. There's nothing about it that's consistent with the Hippocratic Oath. In fact, most people don't realize that the Hippocratic Oath expressly forbids providing an abortive remedy to a woman. And every doctor supposedly takes this oath, and so it's even thousands of years ago in a pagan culture, they recognized this as a fundamental affront to the value of life.
Well, they've rewritten the Hippocratic Oath. They rewrote it several times throughout history, but the most recent has been in the 1960s. But you can imagine what that one sounds like, and there's nothing about abortion in it.
Right.
In fact, most doctors do not take a Hippocratic Oath anymore, which we see what's happening,
Right.
The devaluing of life,
Exactly.
both at the beginning of life and at the end with euthanasia. So, but I'm so glad that you're here at the Election Summit. Thank you so much for taking the time with us.
Thank you so much for talking.
Absolutely. Can you tell our viewers how to get in touch with you and learn more about your work?
If you're interested in supporting Compass Care and the national effort to support pregnancy centers across the country, go to compasscarecommunity.com to learn more. That's compasscarecommunity.com. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being here, and God bless you. Thank you, Doctor.